7 Secrets of the Goddess by Devdutt Pattanaik. Chapter 5, Lakshmi's Secret. Wealth can liberate. Part 4. Lakshmi has 2 forms, Bhudevi and Sridevi. Bhudevi is the earth goddess and embodies tangible wealth like food. Sridevi is associated with intangible wealth or glamour. One can say Bhudevi is natural wealth and Sridevi is cultural wealth. In South Indian temples, these 2 forms of Lakshmi are seen beside images of Vishnu. In the Puranas, Bhudevi is often visualized as a cow. The story goes that a king called Vena plundered the earth so much that the rishis had to intervene and kill this greedy king. They churned his corpse and from the purified remains created a new king, Prithu. Prithu was a form of Vishnu. He discovered that the earth had run away in the form of a cow, so he pursued her with his bow and arrow, threatening to strike her if she did not stop and allow his subjects to milk her. "If you kill me, the world will cease to exist," she cried. "But if you cannot be milked, the world cannot survive," argued Prithu. So finally, assured that he would protect her and not let anyone plunder her, Bhudevi let herself be milked by all living creatures under the watchful eye of Prithu. As Prithu, Vishnu declared that the kings of the earth would be guardians of Bhudevi and that he himself would descend on earth if she was troubled. He becomes the Gopala, or caretaker of the earth cow, Gomata. In the Bhagavad Puran, Bhudevi comes weeping to Vishnu and complains about the weight of greedy kings that she has to bear and begs him to relieve her burden. And so, Vishnu descends as Parshuram, Ram and Krishna to kill all the greedy kings of the world. Thus the avatars of Vishnu are meant to secure Lakshmi. She is under Vishnu's protection. In the stories of his mortal avatars, Parshuram, Ram and Krishna, Vishnu never claims ownership of Lakshmi, even in situations when he is entitled to her. Parshuram fights brutally to reclaim his mother cow from the clutches of Kartavir Arjuna, who tries to claim her forcibly. He even enforces his mother's fidelity by beheading her on his father's orders when she has adulterous thoughts. Both actions are done out of obedience for the father and not for his own benefit. In the next avatar, the rule of obedience to the father is questioned as it creates crisis in culture, depriving the kingdom of a good king. As Ram, Vishnu is tranquil when his father asks him to give up claims over Ayodhya. He is equally tranquil when the kingdom is returned to him and he is crowned its king. Ram's relationship with Sita reveals the complexity of God's relationship with Goddess in a world that speaks of duties and rights. Ram dutifully accepts Sita as his wife when her father offers him her hand in marriage. He allows her to follow him to the forest during his exile, even though he would be more than happy if she stayed back in the palace. He rescues her from Ravana's captivity, but does not reclaim her, letting her choose him over freedom. And when his subjects gossip about her fidelity, he abandons her in the forest. At one level, Ram's treatment of Sita is disturbing, as he seems almost indifferent to her needs. At another level, he claims no rights over her. And when it comes to duties, he chooses his duty as king over duty as husband, unquestioningly following the royal codes of conduct. This demands great sacrifice. When asked to remarry, however, he chooses to stay single, rejecting his right to remarry and his duty as king, thereby expressing his affection for the goddess and his understanding of her. Culture needs her, but she does not need culture. In Krishna's story, the goddess takes many forms. She is Radha to Krishna before his marriage. She loves him even though she belongs to another, thus defying all cultural norms. She is Rukmini, who defies her father and elopes with him to Dwarka. She is Satyabhama, who obeys her father and marries him, but constantly reminds him that it is her wealth, not his intelligence alone, that makes him an influential member of the Yadava clan. Krishna treats both the poor Rukmini and the rich Satyabhama with affection, for he is worldly wise and values both, the love of Rukmini and the wealth of Satyabhama. When Krishna meets Sudama, He wishes to offer all his wealth to his poor friend, but Satyabhama stops him from excessive generosity, reminding him that there are many others in need of charity. Finally, the goddess takes the form of Draupadi, who is helpless and abused despite having 5 husbands to protect her. Her husbands, the Pandavas, are described as Indra's reborn. She needs Vishnu to help her, and he does so as Krishna, even though he is not obliged to do so by any social law or custom. He does so out of love. Unlike Indra, who only sees Lakshmi as pleasure, Vishnu sees Lakshmi as his responsibility. Vishnu seeks to create an ecosystem where Lakshmi is not held captive. Instead, she is distributed and celebrated by all. The story goes that humans are in debt because they milk the earth. This debt gets repaid in blood when Parshuram kills Kartavirarjuna, Ram kills Ravana, and Krishna kills Kansa, Jarasandha, and oversees the destruction of the Kauravas. Kali spreads her tongue to quench her thirst, resulting from excessive milking of her resources by humanity. As Hinduism made its journey from Vedic ritualism to Puranic devotion, it became increasingly monastic. This meant that the yogi, one who does not care for wealth, was given more respect in society than a bhogi, one who enjoys wealth. In such a society, Lakshmi was seen as the source of all problems. Rather than taking responsibility for their own inadequacies, human society blamed Lakshmi for the conflicts of society. This tension between the yogi and the bhogi is a constant theme in the Puranas. The yogi Shiva is turned into the bhogi Shankara when he marries Parvati. The bhogi Indra learns from the yogi Vishnu how to transform Ranbhumi or battleground into Rangabhumi or playground. Similar tensions can be seen in temple lore where the language is regional and the themes more practical. The following is an Uriya story which is part of the temple lore of Puri Jagannath Temple, where Krishna Jagannath is worshipped along with his brother Balabhadra and his sister Subhadra. One day, Balabhadra saw Lakshmi entering the house of a sweeper woman. He declared that she had been contaminated and orders his younger brother not to let her into the house. Krishna obeys and shuts the door of the temple. In the days that follow, to the great alarm of the divine siblings, no food is offered to them. On inquiry, they discover there is no food being cooked in the kitchen, as all vegetables and fruits and cereals and pulses and spices have disappeared from the pantry and the market. There is not even a drop of water to drink. The siblings trace this catastrophe to their rejection of Lakshmi. Eventually, Krishna apologizes to his wife and begs her to return to the temple. In this story, Krishna's ascetic brother, the yogi Balabhadra, learns that notions of contamination and pollution make no sense to the goddess of wealth. These are artificial cultural norms created by humans to satisfy their craving for hierarchy. Food will satisfy without discrimination the hunger of all, be it a sweeper, a king, or a god. In other words, food is satya, truth independent of human opinion. Notions of contamination, which is the hallmark of the caste system, is mithya, dependent on human opinion. When we discover that Lakshmi does not discriminate between saint and thief, that all hierarchies are man-made creations, then Lakshmi becomes a tool for liberation. The following is a Telugu tale from one of the richest temples of India, the temple of Tirupati Balaji that enshrines Vishnu on earth. The sage Bhrigu, a yogi, decided to pay a visit to Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. He found Brahma too busy conducting a yajna with Saraswati to pay him attention, so he cursed Brahma that he would not be worshipped at all. He found Shiva too busy being intimate with Shakti to pay him attention. This time, his anger was a little less, and so he said Shiva would be worshipped, but not as he looks, only as an abstract symbol, the linga. He then moved to the ocean of milk, to Vaikuntha, convinced that Vishnu would surely pay him attention. But there he found Vishnu sleeping, his feet being massaged by Lakshmi. Furious that he mattered to none in the Trinity, Bhrigu kicked Vishnu on his chest, where is located Srivatsa, the symbol of Lakshmi. Vishnu did not get upset. He understood Bhrigu's frustration and apologized to the sage and checked if Bhrigu had hurt his foot while kicking his chest. Watching Vishnu touch his feet, Bhrigu was happy. Then realization dawned as to how foolish he was being. Though he claimed to be a yogi, his attention-seeking behavior revealed he was actually a bhogi. Lakshmi did not appreciate Vishnu's servility, whatever his reason. She was furious that Vishnu did not punish the sage for insulting the Srivatsa. She walked out of Vaikunt in a huff and went down to earth. Vishnu followed her, desperate to bring her back. For Vaikunt cannot remain Vaikunt without Lakshmi. He decided to stay on earth until Lakshmi agreed to return. But he found no house. Devotees would give him shelter until someone richer or more powerful came along. Finally, he saw the 7 hills that reminded him of the 7 hoods of his serpent Shesh, on whose coils he reclined on the ocean of milk. This was Tirumala, the sacred hill. Homesick, he wished to settle here, but for that he had to marry the local princess Padmavati, born of a lotus flower. Her father, the local king, demanded a huge bridal price. Without Lakshmi by his side, Vishnu was the impoverished Daridra Narayan, and so he had no choice but to take a huge loan from Kuber. This narrative demonstrates the value of wealth in society. Even Vishnu needs wealth to get himself a wife and home on earth. One who rejects Lakshmi cannot expect to have a home or a spouse. News of Vishnu's marriage to Padmavati upset Lakshmi, who came to the wedding and demanded her place in Vishnu's chest. So Vishnu expanded his chest to accommodate his 2 wives. He placed the celestial Lakshmi, Sri Devi, on the left side of his chest, near his heart, and the terrestrial Padmavati, Bhudevi, on the right. This Vishnu at Tirumala is trapped and needs the help of his devotees to repay his debt, so that he can return to Vaikunt. He is called Venkat, he who can destroy, kata, bondage, vem, for in exchange of the wealth received. He grants his devotees the wisdom of yoga that explains the relationship one should have with wealth in order to be truly happy. This is further demonstrated in the ritual of giving wealth to transform Daridra Narayan, the poor Vishnu, into Lakshmi Narayan, the rich Vishnu. When Lakshmi is used to enable others to repay their debts, Vaikunt is established and Lakshmi becomes a tool for liberation. Chapter 5, Lakshmi's Secret. Wealth can liberate. Part 3.
Chapter 7, Brahma's Secret. Human life is an opportunity. Part 1.